Man, what's up, y'all? Listen, first off, I'm feeling poopy. But everybody's been talking about this thing, man, and I wanted to give some thoughts on it myself. I have a couple of thoughts. But listen, one of the guys I think you should check out is Jason Marcellus on Instagram. Jason Marcellus from the Marcellus family. He's always got some really enlightening things to say about music and different things. He has some pretty enlightening things to say about this as well. Now, if you don't know, December 26th is when like the viral moment happened, with this guy in the back is doing some shenanigans on the guitar, and he gets it's brutal. It's brutal, and I'm gonna you've probably seen it already, but yeah, this is the moment right here. This is the moment right here. So you can see he been cracking up. He been cracking up for a long time. Apparently, now I didn't know this, but apparently he had been there for a couple of days. That's what I'm saying. He's bugging right now. Let's get to this. This is the spot right here where the whole kerfuffle goes down.
Thanks for letting me fucking solo, asshole.
Get out of here. Get out. No one wants you here.
Dude,
Leave.
play Spain. None of you can play Spain.
What does that mean? What's going on? What's going on?
Get out of here.
Guys, we're definitely not arguing.
Hold up.
Your voice is way too loud for whatever's happening right now.
So apparently, what I think has happened is he's come in here and he done struck a few nerves, and folks are maybe a little bit familiar with him. But let's talk about the live streaming. And I ain't never been to Smalls. I don't know nothing about, I know it's a spot I know it's a spot in New York and, whatever. But there's something about jam sessions or shed sessions or whatever, right? Man, there used to be a time, and it's before the internet. It's before Gospel Chops, all that. And I could go down a whole rabbit hole on that thing. Before all of that stuff popped off, man, you could go places and fall on your face. You could go places and play and not be embarrassed. Like, it's like that thing when, I've said it before when I was teaching kids. Little kids don't give a fuck. They do whatever they free. About 4th or 5th grade, they start looking left and right. And it may be earlier now. I've been out of the classroom like 3 years now. But we have, as a society, I think we have lost safe spaces. You know what I mean? We have lost safe spaces. And then when the whole Gospel Chops thing jumped off and the YouTube thing jumped off, that's the problem with gospel music, in my opinion. You're free to come at me if you want to. But that shit is like, it's all a competition. It is no longer about worshiping God. It is no longer worship music. It's about, I used to have a shirt that said, "Ain't nobody getting famous tonight." Everybody like, so there's that. I could talk about that for a while because Chris says that's how you learn. That's how you learn. That's how you learn. Now, I'm going to get to the self-taught legend here in a second. I'm going to get to him in a second. But I don't know why this has to be live streamed, right? Jazz is a community thing, and people are, and he's doing some egregious shit or whatever. I'm going to get to him. But I think all these cameras and stuff is whack. Let me talk about the church thing for a second, and how church, and I'm going to say black church culture too, and I'm going to piss somebody off, and I don't care. Man, let me tell you something. There used to be a time when you couldn't just go up in nobody's church and play. I don't care how good you could play. You couldn't just go up in nobody, and we like to, I might get canceled when I say this, and I don't care, because it's real. I have to be real, right? We always so busy to invite somebody to the cookout. Everybody got to come to the cookout, but who's inviting us to the boardroom? Who's inviting us to that shit? But you know what I mean? I'm just calling it what it is. I know that might be too hot for some of y'all. But back in my day, if you were going to play in somebody's church, you had to be a member of that church. You had to be a member of that church community. You had to be a Christian. You had to go to Bible study. You had to do all that. It wasn't going to be no just you going to come to church and learn and use church to find your licks and all that shit. And then you go take that and you package it up and you sell it. Oh, let me stop. Listen, I'm just calling it what it is. And I'm a person that calls the race card slow. I pull it slow, and I'm deliberate when I pull it, because I want it to mean something. I'm just saying that's the truth. But now that culture is a business. That is purely entertainment. That ain't got. I think church music and church culture. I don't fool with church. I had a dude ask me. The dude used to play bass for Tank and the Bangers. Asked me to sub at a church. I said, man, I don't do that. And he said, man, you don't fuck with Jesus? I said, nah, I didn't say that. I don't fuck with church. And I said what I said. That's me. My time on this earth is finite, so I'm gonna be real about what I'm saying. So if it's too hot for you, then you know what I mean? That just is what it is. So that shit is all about entertainment. It's ego driven. It's who got, but that comes from that excuse me. That comes from this internet, man. You know what I'm saying? I said on a short or a reel or something before, because my partner had posted something one time. He played drums, and he posted something one time, and I immediately was like, yo, take that shit down. Man, who's the bass player? The bass player is struggling. The singers are struggling. And it was like, yo, everything don't have to be live stream. And I go live a lot. But, because it's live, you can't stop it. But, like, you want to set, why you want to try to make yourself look good, but other people sound like shit. I got a partner that I'm starting a project with named Jonathan Newman. He played drums. And Jonathan Newman Enterprises on Instagram. And I love the way he curates things that he puts online. And we were talking about this, and he was like, man, I want to make sure that everybody is looking good when I put it up there. You know what I mean? Now, Chris says bass players today want to be a guitar player. Look, I ain't tripping on that. How somebody play and what they do, if they got 1 million notes an hour, man, God bless them. I don't care about none of that. And I'm equally thankful for the internet. The internet has done wonders. Technology has done wonders for us. But in some of these pure what used to be pure spaces, right? Where you could kind of, excuse me, you could try shit. You could, I'm so glad that I grew up in an era where if you weren't there and somebody told you, you'd have to use some judgment and be like, nah, I can't see. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking back about some shit right now, and I'm like, man, I'm so glad there's no evidence of that anymore. And don't even talk about Hurricane Katrina. When Katrina happened, I'm like, oh, shit, I'm so glad X, Y, and Z is off the map. You know what I mean? So, I got on a soapbox. I'm sorry. Yeah, man, everybody's trying to do their thing, Let me go try to learn some shit. But if we create environments, if we have environments that aren't safe spaces, and nowadays, no place is safe. I know somebody that just got some of those Meta glasses, and I'm going to tell you right now, you try to have a conversation with me and you got them joints on, I'm not talking to you. I don't have a fucking thing to say to you. Nothing. Yesterday, I went to go get fried chicken. I don't even like fried chicken. But Gus's fried chicken, I fuck with. If you never had Gus's fried chicken, I was in there and there were some tourists, and the tourists came and they, and the dude got like the big, he taking photos like for real. Now, I know that when you're in public, there's no expectation of privacy. So I can't tell a man, but what I can do is I can move my ass out the way. When I was younger, especially growing up in a touristy town, sometimes people would ask me if they could take my picture because I was young, fairly attractive. And, I played an instrument. People don't do that anymore. I had that happen to me when I was in San Francisco. You know what I mean? But, Alex, I'm coming back to that, bro. I'm coming back to that. Like, nowadays, people just, everybody got a camera and their phone and all that. I was I've said this before, like back in the days, man, in New Orleans, every band would have a sign up that said no photos, no videos, right? The band will stop playing. And nowadays, you can't really control that. But one day I'm on a gig on Bourbon Street at this little spot that didn't last long, but I was on Bourbon Street. And the brother comes in and he's got like the professional shits, right? Yeah, I mean, he got the whole DSLR with the big fucking zoom and he got all that. And see, I'm first of all, I'm sick. I've been sick for days. And my nerves are a little bad right now. So y'all starting to get how it might be to like have like a real conversation with me, like for real. But so my man is taking pictures. I mean, he getting the artsy shots and shit. And I asked the singer, I said, hey, this is before the gig. We just set up or whatever. And I'm just kind of noodling. I said, hey, man, you know him? She said, nah. I said, oh, hell nah. So I turn around. I said, hey, player, I don't know you like that, man. And you just snapping like you taking pictures for goddamn Vogue or something. You know what I mean? I got you, bro. You know, I'm an artist too. I said, man, I didn't even see you put nothing in the bucket. This dude put $2 and I said, boy, I tell you, I said, man, nobody exploits artists like other artists. Type of hell yeah in the chat if you know exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody exploits artists like other artists. When I go to clubs, like if I go to the Maple Leaf and there's some bands playing, even if I got my guitar in my back, they'll let me walk in. Nah, I'm paying. I'm paying because they working. then I make my point to put something in the tip bucket because that's how we live around here, right? Alex says low consciousness. That's low consciousness, man. But if nobody says anything, nobody knows anything. You feel me? Nobody, if you don't say nothing, shit just keeps happening. But nobody don't want to say nothing. And I mean, you can't control what people do. I can only do, all I could do is remove myself from the situation. You know what I mean? I know a bass player in town, an absolutely killing bass player. I don't know if this is the whole story, but I think he got blackballed. I know he got fired from some spots, but I know what happened. I know what happened. Cause like pre-COVID, man, tourists would come and they, especially like older tourists, they put that fucking flashlight on their phone and then they'll just come and they put that in your face and just be looking. And he wound up cussing somebody out, right? And it went left from there. I don't know the whole story. That's the story that I heard. But I know that frustration. Also, when I'm playing, if somebody asks, you got requests cost some money. You put a nickel in the jukebox. All right, I'm tangent. I'm getting off topic. So my whole point is, I don't know why a jam session, and they do what they want to do. They do what they want to do. That's their business. They do what they want to do. I'm just saying, I don't know why a jam session needs to be accessible to the public that way. Because the jam session is one of the places where you should feel vulnerable. You should go there and feel like the weakest person in the room. You should go to the jam session and get your ass handed to you. You absolutely 100% should. I am always been a proponent on this channel. Always. I've always said you got to find places and situations to play with other people, and you got to dare to suck. Sound man named Gary told me that in LA a long time ago, and it always stuck with me. Right? I love photographers who take your pic and then want to sell it to you and then put their watermark. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I love. This is how kind of, hold on, y'all. I'll let it go. I got an alarm going off in the other room. This is how fucked up and twisted we are and how selfish we are as a society. Is when you go on Instagram and a motherfucker will have taken somebody else's photograph, put it on their Instagram page, and put a motherfucking they ad on it. Hold on, I gotta turn this thing off. Hold on. That's gonna drive me crazy. It's my reminder to do my affirmations. Excuse me. Which apparently I need to do right now. So, I mean, do you see how crazy that is? Right? Now, I would love to see jam sessions where there is an absolute no video, no audio recording policy. You know what I mean? Sheem Dawson, appreciate you. You know what I mean? That's because that's where you're supposed to be vulnerable at. Now let me talk about the self-taught legend. Now, I'm not.
Thanks for letting me fucking solo, asshole.
Get out of here. Get out. No one wants you here.
All right, so this whole no one wants you here thing, that's not an event. That's a process, right? When the other dude said read the room, and then he been working on people's nerves for a minute. All right? I don't know this cat, and I'm not, because he, if you kind of skim through it and watch it a little bit, you're like, he done some wackadoo shit. Man, how much can I say? How much can I say, Ted? What up, though, from the Motor City? Motor City. Detroit, Rock City. We are, as a society, man, we're performative as fuck, man. We be saying stuff and but it's easy for us. We're insular all of us. We're more insular than we want to believe. Cause what I see, I'll be honest with you, what I see is I see somebody who probably got some mental health issues and is quite possibly having a mental episode. I'm not making excuses for him. But what I am saying is that some of his behavior through the evening, and I used to be a part of this outfit in the Bay Area, open community kind of thing. But every now and again, somebody would come in and that they had, you had to kind of handle them with kid gloves because you don't know what kind of bag they in that particular day. Right? And I've had a sore spot because I'm seeing everybody sharing and whatnot. And I could take this live stream down. I don't really give a shit about like what I have noticed a lot. There's a growing trend in content, and that's people interviewing unhoused people and stuff like that. And I think that's some of the most low life brand of content ever. Don't consume that shit. Because you're going out there and you're exploiting people. And then sometimes you'll see like an elder having having some kind of meltdown or something. And it's quick for us to point to this or that. Like that's what's really going on. And that person could be having a mental episode. How do you know this, Ted? How do you know this? Because my mother had dementia. That's why. Because when I get older, I'm going to probably have dementia. That's why. And because I saw her decline. My mother left the house one day, left all the doors open, and went to her old job. And it was wild. And then she called me on the phone. And I'm telling you, the shit that my mother said to me was things that I had never heard her say before. So mental health issues are like for real in this country. They're for real. And then when I see people share, when I see people like sharing in a certain way and they're saying certain things, I'm like, yeah, I bet you are also the same motherfucker that says, well, I voted for Obama. Man, I'm about to go off brand. I'm about to go too deep for y'all. I'm about to say too much for y'all. I'm just keeping it 100. So I have to do this myself. Sometimes when we're out in the world, I think I'm in the Matrix just like y'all. I'm in the Matrix too. And we can get so caught up in our own shit that it's easy for us to forget that somebody else might be going through some shit too. Somebody else might be off their meds too. Right? I'm 55 years old. I just turned 55. And I've dealt with anxiety, depression, right? I'm just keeping it 100 because if you've been on this channel for any length of time, you saw when my mother died, you saw when I went through my divorce, you saw me, my boy Malcolm Jamal Warner, rest in peace. Me and Malcolm used to chat, and he hit me one time. He said, man, you look real good today. I hope you're doing as good as you seem, because he saw me going through the shit, right? But I'm saying that I have always avoided medication. But now I'm like, hey, man, you know you have ADHD. A lot of musicians do. It might be time for you to take care of that. It might be time for you to find some help for that. Find a little something for that. Now, I'm not, you understand what I'm saying. Everybody got something. But it's easy for us to get on and say, the self-talk, and make all, and do all this shit talking about it. I don't know him, and I haven't and I'm not going to dissect all the things going on in this 2-day saga, right? All I'm saying is, I think we might be better. I think that we could be better served as a global community if we think a little bit more about other people than we think about ourselves sometimes. And I'm pausing there. I'm thinking about that because I don't want to sound like I don't know it all, man. I got my issues, and there's times when I do stuff or say stuff when I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have said that. Maybe you shouldn't have did that. Or maybe you could have handled that differently. And maybe, because my intention is never to hurt anyone. Most people, I don't think our intentions are to hurt other people, but we can be hurtful. But I want to know from y'all before I get off here, because I really need to go medicate. What do y'all think? Type a 1 in the chat if y'all think that there should be safe spaces to jam, free of cameras, free of audio recording, where you can just go, try, fail. Type a 1 in the chat if you believe that there should be spaces like that. 2, if you think that's bullshit. If you think, you just need to come out and do your thing. Right? Let me know. I want to know. But I think that there should definitely be spaces where you could play and just be free to play. There's some people that's watching this channel right now. You scared to go play with somebody because you don't want your business in the street like that. I respect the shit. Look, I've played so many weddings. I've played so many weddings in my life. So many weddings. So many corporate events. And it never fails. There is always at least one person, and they ain't always white either, that just has no rhythm whatsoever. And they get out in the middle of that dance floor, and they are the epitome of dance like nobody's looking. And sometimes I look at them and I say, man, you making my head hurt because I don't even understand how you don't have no rhythm. But I admire the shit out you because people like that are happier. Let me say that again. That's a word. People like that are happier. They're happier. My mother was a very outgoing. My mama could dance though. Now I ain't gonna. My mother was she was social, outgoing person. She was super outgoing, and my mother told me something one time, and I haven't reached that state yet. But she said, "Ted, I'm not always happy, but I always have joy." I want to achieve that before I leave this earth. But we need to have, the jam session is the place, or it used to be the place. It used to be the place. I have seen musicians, man. I have seen right here in the city of New Orleans, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, because what you gonna do? Beat me up? I have seen. There's a musician in town, and he's, he does what he does. And he's the best him that he could be, and he's got a brand, he's got a personal brand, and he's been solid with it. And I love him, and he's super nice. He's a nice guy. For what he plays, not my favorite, but he ain't gotta be, right? But he's really good at what he does. He's really good at what he does. Before COVID, he was one way. And after COVID, he was another way. What do I mean? I mean, it was obvious that he had taken that time during COVID to be in the shed, because he knew shit was gonna pop off again. So he got in the shed during COVID. And one day I'm standing with some musicians, and he comes up, and they hobnobbing and shit, and then my man walks away. And a couple of them start talking shit. And I'm like, he was standing right there. Why you didn't say nothing then? This man literally was standing right there. He's walked away, and now you talking shit on him. You understand how crazy that is? And for those of you who don't know, if you don't say nothing, if you participate in that, I said, look, if I engage in this shit with you, you're going to do it to me. As soon as I leave, you're going to talk shit about me, because I ain't everybody's cup of tea either. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to be better to one another, man. Yeah, a lot of people got better during COVID. I mean, shit. If you came out of COVID and you had something that you was trying and you didn't do nothing, I mean, that's your bad. You know what I mean? Like COVID was a blessing. COVID was a blessing on a lot of different levels, man. On a lot of different levels. But again, so for those of you who are just joining, my thoughts on this are, I don't understand why this is the thesis of my whole live stream. I don't understand why we need to have live streams for everything. I don't know why the jam session, the sacred jam session, the shed session, this community thing gotta be live. Hey, if you ain't here, you just ain't here. I play with a little group here in town called Jamilton. And they're a cool ass group of dudes, man. Low pressure kind of dudes, fun to hang with. Band leaders, hella cool. And the place, Cafe and the Grill, they do live streams when they play. And I think they could request if it's not live stream. I don't really care. But I done ate it. I done ate it a couple times on that gig. But I think, me personally, this is me. I've been playing, Alex. I've been playing bass 30 years. I wish I was better. You know what I mean? I wish I was better. Whatever. But I'm good at me. I'm good at what I do. You know what I mean? I can't let nobody from TED Talk Bass see me mess up or not know a song. What you gonna do? You'll beat me up? Nope. You gonna unsubscribe? Well, if that's what it takes for you to unsubscribe, well, shit. See ya. You understand what I'm saying, right? That's me. That's me. That's me. But you got the new people. The shy people, right? the self-conscious people. And I'm telling you, you can't sit in your house and play all your shit and then think that all that's going to come out in the real world, because it don't. It's the same as it's the same as when you see some people. Remember during COVID, my man Detroit Urban Survival Training, he was hot at the time, Dust, and he was showing people how to, if you get stuck up with a gun, this is how you get out of it and shit. And all of the real self-defense people was like, hey, don't try that. You gonna die. Don't try that. Don't do that. Somebody posted about this particular thing, and what they said is kind of fitting. It's like, you got dudes that they train at home, they in their backyard. I mean, look, I'll be at home shadow boxing and shit, but I'm not no fighter. I'm a lover. I ain't a fighter. Now, you ain't gonna just whoop my ass now. But I seen one of those memes that had this big old dude, and he said, man, this dude slapped your girl on the behind. What you gonna do? I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna get my ass whooped. You know what I'm saying. I'm like, there's no level of training that I've done that's going to, Anyway, I'm off topic. My point is that you got to get in situations where you could play with other people. You have to sweat bullets. You got to sweat. You got to sweat. If you really want to play. You gotta get into situations like I've had when you don't know the tune, when you don't know the changes, when somebody's trying to solo and you're the only person that is holding down the changes and you don't know them and you fucking up and they looking at you crazy and the guitar player's looking at you crazy and they like, hey, motherfucker, get it together. And you sweating bullets. You got to have those moments. I was playing, Amy Levine is who was playing. Was it Amy Levine or Victoria Theodore? Victoria used to play with Stevie, right? But we were playing something and she went to solo and I was like goofing on the changes and I couldn't find my place back. And it was frustrating for her and it was frustrating. And I'm literally sweating bullets. Literally. You got to play with other people in the real world, but there's got to be spaces where you can go do that. But nowadays we got so many situations, man, where folks are just so easy to cut up on each other, So anyway, I don't know the dude. I don't stand for or against him. What I think is probably happening is he's probably having some kind of mental break, right? I think he looked like a dude that spent a lot of time by himself. You know what I mean? He didn't look like he had any allies when he walked into the place. That's another thing. Somebody asked earlier in the chat about things to look for in in jam sessions. And, that's too much stuff to kind of, I think it depends on where you're at. But I think your humanity your ego should be left at the door and your humanity should always be on you. I don't care what happens in the world. I don't care what happens in the world. I gotta retain my humanity. Some of the guys in the live stream when it happened said he broke down and had that outburst because he was too high. Hey man, that could very well be the case. That could very well be the case. And a lot of dudes get high. A lot of dudes get high, man. You know what I mean? And some dudes get high and they think they can handle their high, but they can't. I had a situation happen just recently, and I walked away from a string of gigs because a person in the organization couldn't handle whatever they were on, and they went off in like a real wild way. And I won't say what happened, but it was wackadoo. And I was like, yo, I don't care what kind of history we got. Lose my number. Don't never call me again. For nothing. I wouldn't care if this was the last band on earth and I was down to my last penny. Wouldn't do it. And they probably wouldn't call me either. And that would be a good thing. But I know, I do know that isn't that person's heart. So let me round it out. That isn't their heart. That's their addiction. Let me say that shit again, because I'm not mad at this person. That's not their heart. I know that's not their heart. I do know that that is their addiction. And I am only responsible for myself and what situations I put myself in. That's professionalism, in my opinion, and just how adults navigate through the world. That's not their heart, but that is their addiction. And you know, people got to deal with their own shit. You know, I could be empathetic, I could be sympathetic, you know, I could be understanding, but then I also could be like, you know what, I think this is where I have to draw the line and bring myself up out of the situation. You feel me? So I don't know, man. We say it every year. It's only the second day of the new year. Try to be just a little bit more understanding of other people. I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to myself too. Because I can be an opinionated somebody. Hey, Fleece, unpack that a little bit for me. Which separation you talking about? You talking about dealing with the addiction and then separating yourself from the situation? Is that what you're talking about? Like for me, I don't get high, right? I never did. I have been high. I'm a musician. I was young once, right? I've been high, and by God's grace, that's not something that I enjoyed. It was something that I really did not enjoy. It scared me. So, y'all are Oh yeah, Fleece, I feel you. Man, listen. Yeah, I know that's not that person's heart, man. I know that's not their heart. But I saw it devolve the whole night. I saw it devolve as the night, from the first note until the last note. I watched it go downhill. You know what I mean? And that particular night, I became the target of whatever the other shit was going on. I became the target. And having dealt with enough people with, addictions, I'm like, yo, I know this ain't me. But I also know that my temperature is rising. You know what I mean? I could tell when I got my own shit. But I know that's not that person's heart. Let me go back to this comment here. Y'all are preaching some truth with the Lord have mercy. Evangelical scene. I'm a bassist who's still alive after a decade in the Jesus game, came out burnt and disgusted. Yeah, man. Look. Man, I played in church for a long time. Long time. Full gospel in Oakland. And then I went and played at the evangelical, the CCM. I did that for a long time. But on the gospel scene, and I'm not saying this is everybody, but man, so much of that stuff is for show. They ain't got nothing to do with God whatsoever. But church is big business. Church is big business. And anybody who knows anything about church, all you got to do is look at church. And when you have when you become a musician in the church and then you start seeing behind the curtain and you start seeing the real human side of people, that's when it get, you understand? You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, I love this comment right here. I think Fred Zappa said, when you use drugs and perform, man, look, let's say you get high and nobody else in the band gets high and y'all playing. And it don't even have to be playing. It could be whatever else. If you're the only one that's high, you are having a different experience than everybody who's not high. I'm going to give you a story. There was a drummer that used to play. We used to have a 3-night-a-week thing on Bourbon Street. I was like the co-band leader of this thing. It's me and the keyboard player. The keyboard player, first of all, he asked the keyboard player for advice. And I was like, hey, numbnuts, you supposed to be asking the bass player, because you making me work too hard. Right? He was frustrating to play with. But he was available. And one night, I went on and told him, I said, man, I'm going to give you some unsolicited advice. I don't think you ought to smoke weed before the gig. That motherfucker wanted to fight. He wanted to fight. He wanted to fight. He wanted to physically fight me. I'm 30 years older than this young man. So I don't fight, man. It take a whole special kind. The stars gotta align in such a special way for me to get into fisticuffs with anybody. I don't roll like that. I'm just telling you. Because what you think you doing, you ain't doing. Alex says, this New Year's Eve I had to perform with a 15-minute medley and What Is Hip by Tower of Power and stage sober as a fucking judge. Had my first beer. Hey, you know your limits. Me, if I drink on a gig, I'm going to drink one of two things, never in the same evening. Never. And anybody knows me, I got two go-tos. I'm going to drink gin and orange juice, or I'm going to drink a Maker's. Or some kind of bourbon. But I'm not going to, and I'm going to monitor myself through the evening to make sure that I'm not going overboard. But for those of you just joining, the jam, I don't know why they got all the goddamn camera. I mean, and they got a serious lot. I don't mean to say that I'm, again, the venue, they do what they want to do. I just don't know why they are I don't know why this is live stream. Because surely this isn't the first time somebody's had a mental break at a jam session. Surely. Certainly this isn't the first time that's happened. Right? Type a 1 in the chat if you've ever done or said something in public that you are thankful nobody recorded. Type a 1 in the chat if there's anything that you've ever done in your life that you thank your lucky stars nobody recorded it and it's not on the internet. See, when we were growing up, everything we did was in pencil. When we were coming up, everything we did was in pencil. Now everything people do is in ink. It ain't going nowhere. Once it's on the internet, it's on the internet. Anthony said, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, man. Yeah. I've had partners. When I moved back to New Orleans, I had partners. Man, remember when you did X, Y, and Z? I said, I don't remember that, player. Yeah, I don't remember that, player. And sometimes I had to think back and I'm like, oh, maybe that did happen. You know what I mean? But that's also when you're younger. Oh, shit, I can't get off of here. Listen, when I was out there eating the chicken the other day, the guy was playing he was playing my 19 to 23, no, my 17 to 23-year-old soundtrack. I mean, he had the guy on there, Whitney, Keith Sweat, Tupac, you know, all that. He's playing all that. And I was reminiscing, boy. I said, man, look, I was doing my best fucking up when all this stuff. I was living my best, worst life when these songs was out, right? But this is life, right? That was life. You were supposed to do dumb shit on some level. I didn't, you know, I didn't play it safe till I got older. You know what I mean? Because then I was like, hey, man, maybe you ought to stop some of the shit you're doing. Because you're about to ruin the image and the style that I'm used to. Do you understand what I'm saying? But nowadays, you got kids that are either all the way left or and I'm not talking about politics. They either all the way left on some shit where they like super playing it safe, and then they got cats on the right that's just like ape shit. And I'm like, hey man, can't you just can you find a lane? You got a dimmer switch? But again, that's you know, somebody could probably say that about me in my youth as well. That's youth. That's youth. That's growing up. That's what it's supposed to be like, I guess. But we also didn't have the influence of social media and yeah. We didn't have all these outside pressures telling us to be one way or another. So, you know, anywho's it's I gotta go get to bed. Listen, January the 14th, I'm doing a beginner. It is for beginners. It ain't no hang. I'm gonna do some structured teaching. Ain't no rambling, and we ain't kicking it. On January the 14th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm doing an hour-long beginner workshop. If you got some bad habits that you done fit, that I don't care if you've been playing a long time and you got some bad habits you need to fix, it is linked below. It is different from Groove School. We're doing some different stuff. But if you know somebody that is new to the base, want to get on base. Excuse me. I'm sure I'll be better by then. They got some kind of nasty flu going around New Orleans. Have them come on down. It's half the price you would pay for a private lesson. Right? What do you need to bring with you? You need to bring your base. You need to bring your base, a willingness to be open to learn. You need an environment in which you can learn. So don't be in there with your TV and the kids and all that. Carve out an hour of time. And you need to bring some questions. So let me say that again. On January 14th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, the link is in the description of this video. Bring your base, an open mind to learn, be in an environment where you can learn, and bring some questions. Okay? I'm going to see you then. Be kind. Be kinder. Let's be kinder. If we don't do nothing else, let's be kinder to each other and try to be a little bit more understanding of other people sharing the same space on this earth with us. It ain't rocket science, it's pocket science. Peace. 2 fingers. I could count.